in this digital world when lot of complexity is taking place, timeline remains same for the new product development. And time to solve the issues even very steeper when the complexity has increased. And this company or company like NSYS is basically focusing on different aspects of CAE simulations, which is actually not visible. So whatever simulations softwares they are offering or a system, basically physically you cannot experience. Like long back mold flow was one of the approach to visualize how the plastic parts are filled, very long back, 20-25 years ago. So when we started, so solving injection molding was a big issue. Since this has come into the software, everybody now can visualize how the injection molding behavior take place. Those time only experts were able to solve those molding, injection molding issues, die casting issues, etc. So in this digital world, there was already digitization of the knowledge. I would say the scientists' knowledge were mapped into the software form to do various analysis, and then you get some result which they started one by one. So I'm definitely happy with this POS, which was my first software way back in 2001 when I started doing some optical simulation. So I always make this punchline statement as a criticism also. When I started, there was a big problem. So all experts, very few, were not teaching anything. बचा के रखते थे ताकि किसी को पता नहीं लगे. So lighting, for example, the image you see, but it is millions of rays which start from the source, and then you see the light, whatever light you see here on the road or anything. So it's a non-imaging optics basically. And imaging optics is like whatever binocular or micro lenses and other things you see. So you can calculate the focal point and then image shape and size at a certain distance. So this is here you can only imagine in a non-imaging way, and this is how it may be working. So specialists, after a lot of experts like injection molding, I said, we are knowing all those know-how in their mind, not in a paper. So these companies have actually made engineers' life easy by mapping those into the software form, and then you can simulate, all the behavior of light in a digital way back in 2001. So the narrative is light is about reflection, transmission, diffusion, and a layman like us that time, when trying to understand everything, there was a confusion. So reflection, transmission, diffusion, understanding become confusion. So it was very tough. So this software came by Google I search. Then we had acquired the software in that time, and we started learning. That's how India has grown. A lot of engineers working on this, software specifically. NSYS, I think, has many softwares now, which at system level, subsystem level, I could see in his presentation, can be integrated to solve many multi-physics issues. So Uno Minda has been using this software for long time, but the real inclination of both NSYS from thermal, from the vibration, structural, as well as from the optical point of view started in 2014-15, I would say. So when I joined Uno Minda, most of the labs were failing in vibration test. So root cause was not known. So we were making mounting and all so robust in a traditional way so that it can qualify. But actually fixtures were failing on which lamps we were testing. No scientific understanding. So resonance was increasing because fixture itself was not working. So we learned to fix those things as a basics, and then design the product after digital simulations. And since then, I think Manish Tiwari, our scientist sitting here, we have zero failure in vibration in last 5 years. More than maybe 500 lamps he may have simulated, more complex, smaller and all. Even he supported for two-wheeler which has high frequency and up to 20 hertz. Same way, the invisible problem is about condensation, which is most of the product happen. Still, it is a big mystery, but last 3-4 years, with the help of NCS, we have digitized the complete know-how, simulate and optimize the product design, and we know how it will behave when we test, so we can solve also. Earlier, since there was no imagination of like light, thermal vibration, we cannot catch. Now we see the product design and we say, no, this product design is not wrong. So there has been a lot of image in our mind through these digital simulations, and all our experts are having the imagination power. Like I said, non-imaging optics. Same way, all CAE and everything is completely imagination thinking. So I think all of you can learn a lot from this know-how and the management of all the database they have, and experts. I think learning is the key. Still, we learn every day. I love to be part of the problem solving every day. That's my key. If I don't solve one issue every day, I feel like I have not a vitamin in my body. So please learn the problem solving through the digital way. Earlier we were solving problems through the trial and error, as I mentioned, mounting and strong this and that. But today we are more solving problem in digital way. The moment problem comes, I first go to the CAE desk. Tell me, boss, why you have not caught this issue in your simulation. So Mani's mind start thinking. Then we learn that what we missed it. Can we simulate it or not? Why it was not caught in our earlier. So we try to grow our knowledge that either software had this facility or we missed to interpret it. So that is how we are solving. Otherwise, earlier long typing time, one problem, 5 times countermeasure, then you solve. And maybe the Japanese colleague is sitting, Japanese customer doesn't like that approach. So you have to be very specific in root cause analysis and to the point and solve the problem. So this is one thing I would say. Trial and error is now digital than the physical. And then you can solve very systematically with a scientific analytics approach. Lead time of new product development not changing. Same way problem solving approach is also not changing. You cannot have an opportunity of trial and error in digital world. Electronics, mechanical, optical, all combined. It's a multi-physics. That's why lighting is now lightronics, or mechatronics also you can say, optronics also you can say. So there are multi-physics involved into that. So unless you have a system level of understanding of product and parallelly the system level of digital integration, you cannot solve problems. You cannot innovate differently. So my request is, please understand, for any of your product to solve that way. I would also say that earlier we were working like a labor to solve the problem. But as now I am studying Industry 5, where there is a 3 pillars of the Industry 5 training, which is, first pillar is the human is in the center. So now computer will do the laborious job for you, while you are thinking and making interpretation and giving input to get output to solve problem or to innovate. Earlier this was totally physical and Industry 4 was not taking care. Same way you have to look into that aspect. And second is the resilience response. Resilience response means the moment problems comes in electronics, EMI, EMC, or optical, very hard to solve. So you have to respond immediately with the physical versus simulation and quick to solve the problem. Otherwise, you will stuck up in the scientific issues which you cannot quickly simulate. So this is one thing from Industry 5 point of view. And third is the sustainability part, which this gentleman presented. I was very nice. The lady with the ball, they are looking to the thumb pressure, I think, how much putty he has when he's carrying the bottle or taking shower. You see what is the level of simulation from the sustainability point of view to take care of the human aspects. Very wonderful. The same thing can be applied in our industry also. The last but not least, as I said, we used to study in our company when I started career 22 years ago. finance for non-finance, na, हम लोग invitation आता है. Same way, everybody sitting in this room or maybe in our company going forward can take an advantage of intelligence inbuilt softwares like whatever NCS has to run their business, to solve their problems, and anybody can simulate. Like you have seen the ABCD, anybody can dance. So believe me, if you want to learn the approach of science, simulations, secret recipe I have, which is very open, please meet me. I will transfer the know-how. Like Amir Khan का कौन सा फिल्म था, हाथ पकड़ते PK. So I will touch you and whole knowledge will be transferred. Okay. So this is very simple. Only you need to really understand how do we approach the simulation to innovate, simulate, and solve the problem. Since I am from the lighting field, they have spoken about the optics, they have spoken about the electronics, multi-physics. Of course, as an organization, create four-wheeler lighting view, two-wheeler lighting view, we are trying to solve many issues. But actually we are using maximum, I would say, out of all available digitization of the DVP, hardly 10 to 20% out of NC's competencies. So we have to definitely understand the whole, the benefits for the problems, for the innovations, and try to, as a group, we are trying to, adopt a roadmap which will solve our various issues. So next step, apart from the spheres and ANSYS thermal and vibration and condensation simulations, we are eyeing on how do we enter into digitizing our electronics, electromechanical and electrothermal issues, and also multi-physics simulations of lamps, over the period of time, how it behaves in totality. And also we are looking for solving various issues to optimize the product design considering lightweighting. You see my target is first greater safety because we make light. We are responsible for the people's life. Driving comfort, that it should not produce glare to the other people. That how do we simulate digitally everything on the road and to the other users inside the car, like ambient lighting and all. Light weighting, because electrification, electric vehicle cannot carry more weight, otherwise energy will be waste to carry the weight. User experience to simulate inside the car various experiences of the car, car driver and then people, and electrification, that is digitization of electronics, and definitely digitization. Now lamps are coming with a lot of animations, color changing, and the dynamic beam patterns. Many dynamic situations are there. Light is no more static, and we are having long way to go on digitization front to become the global company in terms of automotive lighting. We are happy. I cannot quantify, but definitely I can bet that since NCS and SPOs became part of our ecosystem, we are ahead in this country than any of our competitor, and that's why we are outfitting most of the businesses and solving the various challenges of our customers. So thank you very much to everybody.